All right, as we all know, anything living needs to be cared for and loved, or it will die well, not immediately, but eventually. I'm sure most of us can relate to maybe that pet goldfish that we wanted to school fair. We forgot to feed it a few too many times, and eventually we had to flush it down the toilet. Another example would be a plant. If you don't water it, feed it, fertilize it, care for it, eventually it's going to die. And but something that relates to that is friendship. It's much, it's kind of similar to that. If you don't put time into it, effort into it, show your best friend or your girlfriend or whatever the friendship is, you love and care, eventually it's not going to work out. And that's highlighted in this quote. It's a German proverb: friendship is a plant we must often water. And I think what that means, well, I already told you what I think it means. You have to put a lot of time and care into a friendship, or eventually it won't work out. I'm sure many of us have, or when we got our first girlfriend or boyfriend, maybe we had a best friend that we were always with, we did everything with, and then we got that first girlfriend or boyfriend, and maybe we stopped putting the time and energy into our friendship. Maybe we, instead of going out to get food with our friend, we decided to go on a date with our girlfriend or boyfriend, and eventually that takes its toll on our friendship and can, ruin it or, tarnish it over time. I know that happened with me when I had my first girlfriend. I would choose to hang out with her instead of my best friend since kindergarten, and for a while, we weren't even talking, we weren't calling each other or whatever, and thankfully after, things didn't work out with my girlfriend, who I was in love with in high school, I was able to mend my friendship with my best friend, and we still are friends. But yeah, that's also the same with, your family, your cousins, your mom, your dad, your brother, sister. If you don't put the time and energy into making sure that you always hang out with them, call them, see how they're doing, eventually it might not work out. Just like if you forget to feed that plant or your pet goldfish, it might die eventually. Thank you.
I know.
All right, Zach, I thought the opening was really solid. You had a good metaphor that you're making the comparison to, and we've got a clear idea what your topic is and generally what your purpose is. There's not much of a preview of what the content is, and you've got a couple of examples that you're going to talk about. That helps structure it a little bit, but I think if you had a little more planning, you'd be able to talk about this in some more depth. You had very good detail on the first illustration. The thing with your girlfriend and then your best friend and maybe neglecting that particular relationship and some of the problems there. I just think you needed the same kinds of things on some of the other points that you had, and because you didn't have them, it's a little bit more noticeable. Your presentation, you're low-key, you're pretty effective when you're speaking. Not a lot of variety in your voice, but there is a few places where there's some emphasis that makes the point and helps us relate to what you're talking about. The pacing seems pretty solid. there's nothing that I see as being a problem. Nothing's jumping out at me that says there's something wrong here. There are some things I think you could be a little bit more energetic about, a little bit more engaged with. I did think your eye contact with the audience was really solid, except for the one or two times that you kind of went back over to the desk, but you're just double checking in that situation where you left your notes. Like I said, I didn't see anything that was noticeable when it comes to anxiety. It's a good, solid effort. I did like the fact that you came back at the end and reminded us the point that you're trying to make. That's the most effective way of finishing off. Good deal. Thank you.